right, Shalom Israel. Once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000. Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying and straight to the point. I don't have a title as of yet, but I'll figure one out. Fair use, fair use. It's for educational purposes only. This lesson will be surrounding around this video which someone sent me earlier, and it's titled It's Here, Digital ID Active in America. All right. So there's two women speaking in this video. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched enough to know that I wanted to do a lesson on it. And I know the scripture says suffer not a woman to teach, right? It's not a woman's natural place to assert authority, over a man. And it's the place of men to be prophets, and the leaders of our nation. But this day and age, you have both women and men and women who have a voice, all right, and are very informative when it comes to certain things. So let's hear what she has to say. I'm gonna jump a little bit, and I'm gonna pull out the edification.
You need to find your faith for this one.
Excuse the music in the background. My husband's listening to some Maxwell. Breaking news. If you have not heard, digital ID is here in the United States. For those people who told me this was not coming to the United States, we don't have to worry about it. I'm fear-mongering and, this is happening in other countries, not here. This is happening in the UK. This is happening in Canada. This is happening in China. Well, guess what? Now it's happening here. And the testing ground is Alaska. Yes, Alaska is the testing ground. I've known about this for a few days now, but I just been tired, y'all. This is a lot to take in. They're trying to control every aspect of our life. So I had to update my phone last night to the 26th, I think, or something like that. Well, when you update your Apple phone, because Apple has the pay in there now, the digital pay is optional at the moment, okay? So unless you want to do it, then you do it. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But eventually, that won't be optional. That will be mandatory, that you have to link your bank card, that you have to link everything to one system, because that's where we're going. One rule, one system. President Trump already signed an executive order that will allow tech companies to not need approval to do anything. Basically, they don't even have a leash around their neck. They can do.
So you can watch the full video for yourself. Jump to here.
And they're telling us this is what you want, and this is what we're going to give you. This is where it's going.
2026, because what the setup that has happened in 2025, we all feel it, okay? Listen, we all have had the nudge. We've all have experienced what in our spirits, because this is all a spiritual fight. The atmosphere, everything that's going on in the world is spiritual. But what I want y'all to realize is the system that is being set in place, that is being set up, is going to be implemented in the next year that is coming. Alaska already is trying to have AI driven digital identity payments. Now, we already know that has been going on, digital ID cards in the UK, and that they were told that they weren't able to have jobs without this. Meaning, if you can't get a job, you can't have no money. Meaning, you can't eat. Okay, it's all about the eatery and living. I told y'all they're literally charging us for this oxygen at this point. But what they're trying to do is use the biometric data systems with the digital ID, facial recognition, the Neuralink. We've all known about that. Smartphones, digital currency. This has been in the works, and they have already been operating. Something interesting happened to me.
All right, she gonna give a little testimony. She gonna tell a little story. I'm gonna jump to here because what, the gig is up. And if you don't know what the MOTB is, all right, then you lost in the sauce. All right, if you are unaware of the progression of the world as far as its technology and how it ties into the Bible and prophecy, you're lost in the sauce. And if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you better wake the fuck up. You better wake up, man, and repent, because these things are about to happen fast, and this is life and death information, all right? And I must add, the prophets, the men of the Lord, have been warning you of these things for decades, man, all right? The prophets told you first, but now a lot of so-called average people, people outside of the men of the Lord are, such as this woman and that other woman, they are telling you they can see it, so how can you not?
How much you paying? This is what it's giving, and it's all for the setup for what system. I'll let y'all catch that one, okay? But he's
so us in the know, we know the what is she's referring to, the fulfillment of the prophecy of the MOTB in Revelation 13:16. So now the first woman, she spoke about, all right, first of all, I looked up, right, which I guess it's been a couple months that, they had this thing rolled out or preparing to be rolled out in Alaska. And so in my other phone right now, all right, my other phone says Alaska offers a mobile ID, MID app for digital driver's licenses, letting users share only needed info like proof of age from their phone, but it's a supplement, not replacement for physical IDs. Requires a separate state app, not Apple or Google Wallet yet. And acceptance varies. Law enforcement accepts it, but TSA, other businesses might not yet, though acceptance is growing, with some users finding the app buggy and integration lacking, right? So that's confirmed that they do offer a the usage of a digital ID system in Alaska, and this devil is slick as hell because, in the United States of America, Alaska is the furthest thing from most of the states, mines, right? Puerto Rico, also, you gotta be reminded that America is a part of Puerto Rico. I think Dave Chappelle was making fun of Nero 2.0 because he slipped up and said some shit like he gonna have a meeting with the president of the president of Puerto Rico. He said, sir, you are the president of Puerto Rico. But anyway, this devil root, He's slick as hell. And he likes to move off of something called gradualism, order out of chaos. So now I have an iPhone which I tried. You know, if it wasn't for this truth, I probably have a flip phone. Nevertheless, I now have 2 iPhones, and I have yet to set up the biometric system. You know, I don't use my fingerprint or my face to unlock my phone. A lot of people do. I don't fuck with Siri, Alexa, none of that shit. But being as though I do have an iPhone, from time to time, they prompt you to do these updates. And most of the time, you know, most people, they automatically set up their phone to, they set their phones up to automatically update their phones without having to ask. And they usually do it sometime within, in the middle of the night when you sleep, more than likely. My phone, it has to ask me to update my phone every time. So I don't, you know, and then the terms of use, you have to accept it, and it's usually a lot to read. And I don't, you know, most people don't usually read it. Jake hate to read. This time when he offered it to me, and I denied it like 3 times because something jumped in my spirit, knowing the times that we in, to read through the terms of use, and I saw something about the digital ID in there, so that's why I've been declining it. But so, and the update is called iOS 26.1. Terms for the wallet section focus on enhanced features like digital IDs, order tracking, and credit card autofill, with new privacy controls to turn off offers and promotion, requiring users to agree to updated TNCs via their Apple ID or during setup for these features found in blah, 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 blah. So it's confirmed, right? The update does have a lot to do with, you know, the digital ID system. No, I'm going right. Learn.wallet.apple, right? ID and wallet, your ID now on your phone. And this is all, you know, because remember they was just talking about the real ID, right? And the thing about the real ID is that ever since, which they was threatening that, you know, without the real ID, you wouldn't be able to do certain things, and you eventually would have no choice but to update your old driver's license or ID to the real ID. And we, you know, they now, so when you go to get your real ID, first of all, the appointments is backed up, right? And then, so, you know, if you have to work, it's difficult for you to get off. It makes it more difficult for you to, or more inconvenient for you to set up an appointment, right? And when you do, they don't give out, since 2020, you know, the jab situation, they don't give out IDs in person. They have to send to you in the mail, and through personal experience, it may take forever. It's a very frustrating process. And so now they have this digital ID thing, which is still mandatory, not fully rolled out, but it can offer a certain amount of convenience, you know, to you know, to have, and it's gonna be an increasing trend, you know, like it's convenient to use the digital wallets now, right? You can have your credit cards, your debit cards in one place. You don't have to worry about losing it unless you lose your phone. It's more difficult. It's more easier to lose your ID and your birth certificate, your social security card, and your your credit cards than it is to lose these smartphones. You can track them and all types of things. So, right, your ID now on your phone. With your ID and wallet, there is no need to reach for your physical ID. Simply add your eligible ID to the wallet app and use it. Matter of fact, I need to go back because it's something up here that I missed out on, right? The second point, digital IDs, U.S. state supports adding U.S. driver's licenses / IDs with data shared only after user authorization, Face ID, Touch ID. So that's the catch. You have to link yourself with these phones through their biometric system. So it's always some type of catch. This devil is slick as hell, man. So for a person like me, if you was always against these things, then, and if you want to use the digital ID, now they got you, right? It's a fucking trap. So going back where I was at, it says wallet app and use it to show proof of age or identity at select businesses, venues, online, and an app. And like the first woman said, eventually it's going to be mandatory. It's not going to be optional. Or travel with it at TSA checkpoints, airports. Presenting your ID just got much easier. And this is the main focus point of them marketing this technology. Convenience, right? Is good for you. It's easier for you. It makes the world is a more things will run way more smoothly, in which them the changing of their laws, right, passing the bills and all that, they're the ones that's changing the system to be more difficult, the old system to be more difficult to use, forcing you to accept the idea of this new system, which is all leading towards them establishing their new world order. One world government, one world ID, one world government, one world money system, one world religion, one world military. Easy, secure, private. Present your ID in seconds. Driver license and state ID make it simple to prove your age and identity in person at select businesses. I've read that already. Easy, verify your age or identity in apps. When you add a driver's license or state ID in wallet, apps that require age or identity verification are a snap. Whether renting a car or booking a hotel, it's all that much easier. And one of my cousins, he has a smart refrigerator, right? Everything is, these smart cities, everything is leading to you being locked out of the use of this world if you don't have that micro C-HIP technology, if you don't have the mark of this beast-like system. Because I did a video where they have shopping carts, right? They have shopping carts where you can, whatever you put inside your shopping cart, it automatically scans and brings up the amount of the item that you put inside your shopping cart, right? It has scanners, and if you take something out, it deducts that amount from your total amount. And so when you go to pay, when you go to leave, the process of making your payment is much smoother. You go to right now, as of right now, you don't go to self-checkout. You don't go to a line where there's an actual person checking you out, cashing you out. You go to like a fast track line where basically they don't have to scan any items. That process is cut out. All they do is ring up, basically just charge you for the things that you picked up, that you got in your cart, and leave out. And eventually they're gonna cut out that part, and your system is your banking system, your micro C-HIP technology will be linked to the store in some type of way, and you'll just be able to leave out with your groceries. They got a refrigerator. They have refrigerators where it knows exactly what items are in your refrigerator, all right, because it has a camera, all right, and without opening your refrigerator, it can tell you, you can see a whole list of the items that's in your refrigerator. So I just used it today. I already automatically saw the future of this type of technology, in which if you don't have that Charagma, the marketer's beast-like system, you're not going to be able to go into a person's house, go into an apartment complex, use a public bathroom. You're not going to be able to do nothing. It's going to be way more difficult for you to do. Give me 1 second. Let me text this person, tell them I'm doing a video. Baba Kashab, bear with me. So continuing on, breeze through airport security, and everybody knows that, that you have to. It's best that you show up 30 minutes or more ahead of your flight so that you can get through security, airport security, because that process is known for being a hassle, right? So anything to make that process easier, if you're a person that's always taking flights, traveling, which that's a trend of this world, right? Then this is something that you want to be a part of. It's a part of a trap. Add an eligible driver's license or state ID to wallet, or create an ID with your U.S. passport and present it at TSA checkpoints for domestic flights by using your iPhone or Apple Watch. So currently you can't use it internationally. You can only use it within the States. Again, gradualism. Private and transparent. You'll always see which data you're sharing, and your information will only be shared after you authorize with Face ID or Touch ID. So they want you to, feel at ease with your invasion of privacy. They want you to feel secure and feel like, they want you to accept it. And a big flag of why people won't accept it is because of that invasion of privacy. People are worried about their information being shared. They're worried about them being tracked all the time, all right? In which they don't, they totally want total control over you. But before they bring the hammer down and make it mandatory and just try to shove it down your throat and force you to accept it, they want as many people to get comfortable with using it and make it a trend, make it a thing as far as being cool, so that most people will take it with ease, willingly, which will automatically single out those who are rebelling against it. Neither Apple nor your state issuing authority can see when or where you share your information. Getting started is easy. You're going to always see that word, right? Or words like that. Easy, convenient, all right? Blah, 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 blah. How to, all right, this is what I wanted. The states listed below currently support driver's licenses and state IDs, with more on the way. Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Maryland, Montana, New Mexico, North Dakota, Ohio, Puerto Rico, West Virginia. The country listed below supports digital ID. United States, right? Add your ID to wallet, right? So now, this is another catch, right? So I was just telling you about the iOS 26.1. This is something I found interesting. From Forbes.com, update now, warning issued to all iPhone users. This was updated on December 14th. the original, the article originally published on December 13th. Apple has released iOS 26.2 along with a warning to update your phone now. That's because so you can already see how this whole process is going to move very fast, right? Like the scriptures say, he comes down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. Right now, this devil Nero 2.0, he's in office right now, and there's reports of his health continuously declining. All right, he has ambitions. Though he has ambitions on running for a third presidency, it's not a guaranteed thing. And if he isn't allowed to run for a third term, then his term would be over in 2028, 2029, so now he wants to have a certain reputation linked to his presidential term before it's all said and done. He's doing a lot of things to try to be notable, to try to leave some type of legacy, as far as American presidents. He's trying to make America great again. He want a fucking golden statue. He's building a fucking ark. He changing the ballroom. He got all different. He got the tariff wars. He got he's looking to establish. He just came out with this fucking gold card, and he talking about a platinum card. As far as he shut a lot of countries out of being able to get visas, right? Get American citizenship if you're from another country. Now he got these gold cards, and he's talking about platinum cards in which you can pay, right? If you can afford to pay for these visa, immigration cards, whatever you call them, it's like $1 million. I think the gold one is like $1 million, and the platinum one will be it's supposed to be like $5 million, right? He doing a lot of things, right? And if you could afford these to become an American citizen through his gold trump card and his platinum trump card, then you have enough money to be able to start businesses that will create a lot of jobs, right? This is his way of thinking, right? So he got a lot of things going on. And one of those things is him looking to, right? Bills are already passed to roll out this digital ID system, so things is going to go fast. If he is worried about his health, all right, then he's going to be prompted and pressured to make things happen faster, whether it's because of his presidential term coming to an end fastly, or him worrying about his health. The Lord is orchestrating all things at the end of the day, and the Lord said that he would be the one that would shorten the days for the elect seat. So, and all we're waiting for really is for this devil to make his move, which Nero 2.0, he's only a puppet. It's really the elites that's, looking to establish a new world government, new world order. And in order to do that, they have to implement their micro C-HIP technology. So these things are going to happen fast. And once that prophecy is fulfilled, then the day of the Lord's judgment is going to be right behind it, right? The salvation for the elect of the nation of Israel, the second coming of our Lord Yahushua will be right behind it. And anyways, it says Apple has released iOS 26.2 along with a warning to update your iPhone now. That's because iOS 26.2 fixes 26 flaws in Apple's iOS software, 2 of which are already being used in real-life attacks. Apple doesn't provide much detail about what's fixed in iOS 26.2 to give iPhone users as much time as possible to update before attackers can get hold of the details. But it does reveal that iOS 26.2 fixes 2 flaws in WebKit, the engine that underpins the Safari browser that may have been exploited in an extremely sophisticated attack against specific targeted individuals on versions of iOS before iOS 26. So this is fear mongering right here. Even if it is a real threat, it's not a lion or a bear, a hungry lion or a bear in front of your face threatening your life, which is how most humans deal with these type of threats or situations, as if they're actually life threatening on that level. Tracked as whatever, I ain't gonna read all that. CVE 2025 blah 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 and blah blah blah. The 2 already exploited issues fixed in iOS 26.2 are related. The first flaw could lead to arbitrary code execution if a user interacts with maliciously crafted web content. So if you're not careful, they warning careful on how you use your phone, then you can easily be basically cyber attack, right? Blah 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 was also issued in response to this report. Apple said on its support page, Apple's iOS 26.2 also fixes a vulnerability in the iPhone kernel tracked as, which could allow an app to gain root privileges. If an attacker gains root access on the phone, they effectively own it, bypassing app sandboxes, reading messages and login codes, and hijacking banking sessions, says Javad Malik, lead CISO advisor at Nobi4. Criminals weaponize newly patched flaws quickly, he warns. Users should update now from their phone's settings and not via links or pop-ups, and encourage their friends and family to do the same. So, take it how you want it, right? But spiritually, I'm showing you, how this devil works, his plans and his methods in looking to implement and bring about his plans leading up to his one world order. Salaki, I be trying not to make these videos long, but so all right, this is Revelation chapter 13, and I start at 14. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, right? Because in verse 13 it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, right? So, talking about Esau, Edom nation, the so-called white man, all right, through America, which was the first ones to use basically the first version of the nuclear bombs. I forget if you call it atomic bombs or hydrogen bombs. The bombs used during to end World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Slovakia, the bombs used on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan, shook up the whole world, right? That began what you call an arms race, right? For countries, primarily Russia, all right, and the arms race, the space race was with multiple countries, but primarily between America and Russia, right? The two superpowers of the earth, Russia being the superpower of the eastern hemisphere and America being the superpower in the western hemisphere. When those bombs were used in the time of World War II, it shook up the whole world, and it basically, and America has been using until Russia and these other countries got their nuclear stockpiles up, right? Their nuclear arsenal up. America was basically threatening other countries, bullying other countries because they knew that they had this military, these weapons of war, these weapons of mass destruction. So that is what the maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which the beast is Rome. All right, Rome reincarnated. America is Rome reincarnated. All right. Washington D.C. Right. If I'm not mistaken, it was. Let me see. Let me just pull this up. Antiquity in America. In America's capital, even before Americans were collecting antiquities, right? The Renaissance era, right? In the 1500s, right? Around that time, Renaissance meaning rebirth, and it was a time when European countries were reviving the time of classical antiquity, the time where the Greeks and the Romans influenced the world the most, right? They fell out. Rome fell. The Roman Empire, right? The west part, right? Because the Byzantine Empire continued on. But the Roman Empire had fell, and then it came back alive during the Renaissance, all right, the rebirth of that time, all right, and America came out of that. After gaining its independence from Great Britain. So now, even before Americans were collecting antiquities, right, paintings and certain things from the era of the Greeks and Romans, our founding fathers sought to recreate the ancient world in America by making Washington, D.C. a new Rome. That's all I need from that, right? So America is spiritually Rome, spiritually Egypt, spiritually Sodom and Gomorrah, Nineveh, all right, all of Babylon, all those places, all the most wicked and strongest kingdoms in ancient times spiritually rolled into one. Which if you've been following the prophets, you already noticed. But anyways, Revelation 13 and what was that? Okay. Oh, verse 12, it says, and he... No, I was in verse 14, Salakia. And deceiveth them that dwell on earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which is the New World Order, all right? The perfecting of the rebirth of classical antiquity, right? Because Rome was Rome is glorified by America, and it had the strongest military. It was the strongest empire on the face of the earth. And so America is looking to mimic Rome and do what they couldn't do, which is establish total dominance. All right, but this time globally, because Rome conquered the known world at the time, but now America is looking to, or the Esau Edom nation, so-called white man, beginning with the elites, is looking to totally lock down and enslave all inhabitants of the earth by way of their system, with America as the head, with America used as the headquarters, and these other countries creating this one world government with America. So it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Right, going into how Rome fell, and then it had a deadly wound and it was healed. Right, speaking about America bringing rebirth to those ancient Roman ways. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And that's why you see a lot of things copied as far as, the Roman numerals and the infrastructure, America's infrastructure. And Rome had a Senate, right? They you had the plebeians and the patricians. You got the Republicans and the Democrats, right? You had when before America gained its independence, you had the Puritans and the Pilgrims, right? So there's a lot of ways of old Rome incorporated into the ways of America. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, just like the Roman Empire was. Anybody even thought of coming against the Roman Empire military was considered to be insane. Anyone who thinks about bucking up or rebelling against Esau Edom's New World Order system and not receiving their micro C-hip, the mark of their beast-like system, must be insane, because the consequences will be deadly, or life-threatening rather. Verse 16, and he, Esau Edom, the top banking families, and he causeth all, he will cause, all right, make it mandatory, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, no matter the status of your society, no matter your status in society, no matter your reputation, no matter if you in prison, no matter if you so-called free, right? They're going to have benefits they're going to try to make it convenient. They're going to try to make it beneficial for, no matter what your situation is, to take it. If you in prison, they might offer you a reduced prison sentence, or offer you to come home altogether, because that technology is going to be able to track your every move and control everything that you do. Basically, they're going to be able to monitor every aspect of your life, from your heart rate to it can tap into your central nervous system. It's supposed to be able to cut off the part of your brain where you are addicted to things, or you might be impulsive and act out on violence easily. It's all different types of things that they gonna be able to do, which are gonna be likened into miracles, which is gonna help deceive most people into taking it. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? As you should know, the word there for mark is charagma. If you don't know, right, a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. Anybody who takes this microchip is an Antichrist, because you don't have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, Yahweh Shai being who the world enemy calls Jesus Christ, and you can't, and Yahweh being who the world enemy calls God or Jehovah, or whatever name you call the Most High. All right, you can't worship, or you can't worship the Heavenly Father without going through His Son. If you're not worshiping those names as a Hebrew Israelite, you are considered a Antichrist. And if you receive that mark, that's what's going to put the stamp on it. Because if you take that, you lack faith that those names will deliver you and provide a way for you to survive until the day of the Lord's judgment, which salvation for the elect will come at the same time. Mark branded upon horses, right? Because what? The masses of the people are looked at as sheep, cattle, animals, expendable to the elites. They don't really care about you, right? So it's beneficial for them to mark you, all right, to get you to receive their microchip. But if you don't want to take it, they don't, they're more than willing to just delete you or cut you off from the system and make it difficult for you to survive. A mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. This is the ultimate idol. All right, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, you receive this microchip. You are, it's compared to you worshiping a god, or which the gods of these nations are idols. Or these heathen nations are idols. They don't exist. They don't hold any type of power. They can't answer prayers. All right, and that's the number one thing that the Lord don't fuck around with. That pisses the Lord off. You worshiping these false gods, you idol worshiping. All right, the worship of graven images, things created by men's hands, and you worshiping it, giving it power over yourself. So now when that's not it. So that's the mark, right? In their right hand on their foreheads. Like the woman said, Elon Musk is working on that Neuralink, and that you can either get the microchip injected into your hand, all right? Or you can get the upgraded version. You can have both. Get the upgraded version and have the brain chip, which gives you access to a whole world of benefits and abilities of that technology. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell. And that's the point in which, because the digital ID, it's up to you, right? If you were smart, you would start to put faith in the Lord more than being dependent on his system. You don't want to be dependent on the system. The more you dependent on the system, their welfare, income tax, their stimulus checks, right? Because they also have plans on offering a UBI, the universal basic income, right, which is basically a universal welfare, you know. So no matter what you do or don't do, you will have the means to make a certain amount of money, you know. So right now it's not the mark of the beast, all right, but this digital system, this digital ID system is gradually going to lead up to them trying to force that micro CHIP on you. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. So it has nothing to do with some type of mysterious monster. All right, this vision of this beast. All right, all of the beasts of that Daniel saw in Daniel 7. All right, the fourth beast being the beast that was dreadful and terrible. I forget exactly how it's worded. Was the Roman Empire. All right, and the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns represents America and America's allies all together, the NATO and the EU. But the elites, the top banking families of the world of Esau, Edom, nation, so-called white man, is the head of this whole system, you know. So therefore it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 666. And on every single one of those micro CHIPs, right, there's an embargo code, all right, and on each and every last one of those you have 666 within it, right? Hold up, because I had said something. Okay, here it is. Right? The idea that 666 hidden in barcodes is a persistent urban legend conspiracy theory, which they always going to try to tell lies, right? But watch this. It says, stemming from the resemblance of the barcodes, start, middle, end guard bars to the number 6, but barcode inventor George Laurer confirmed it's a coincidence and not sinister. So that confirms that each, like I said, each embargo code does have 666 on them. There's no such thing as a coincidence if you're spiritual and you are synced with the scriptures, the prophecies, the men of the Lord at the least, right? So that's the micro CHIP technology right there, the charagma, and on each and every last one of those is the number of the beast. So whether you believe it or not, this is the fulfillment. Matter of fact, one more thing, right? Grab this word beast. Was right, therion in the Greek, an animal, a wild animal, wild beast, metaphor for a brutal, bestial man, savage, ferocious, right? And now Job spoke of how because when you go into Esau Edom's history, when you look it up, he from time to time always had, even now, right? When we read Obadiah, though thou dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, whose habitation is high, right? Not only did the nation of so-called white man have history of living amongst the caves, all right, going back to their origins, going back to Edom, right, Petra, Basra, right, in the Caucasus Mountains during the what they call the medieval times, the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, right, the time with Jake ruled Europe, all right, after the fall of the Roman Empire, all right. They was forced to live in the Caucasus Mountains, all right. And during that time, they were hairy as hell. They was eating bushes, all right. They were uncivilized. They was grunting. They was animal like, right? So you could do your own research, but Job spoke about it, some verse 30:1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, right? What he meant by younger is lower as far as morals, as far as relevance, all right, when it comes to the Lord, right? Obadiah spoke of this, right? He said the Lord said I have made thee small amongst the heathen, all right? You are greatly despised. I have made you, right? Meaning you greatly hated, and I have made you small among the heathen. So as far as ranking with all of the nations, the Lord originally created 18 nations. The nation of Israel belongs at the top, and the nation of Edom, Esau, Edom nation, the so-called white man, belongs at the bottom of all nations. Right now, the whole earth and order of things is upside down. But when Yahushua makes his second return, and the end of this age of heathens ruling, Esau is going to be put in his place at the bottom. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. And now Job, when you read, let me go to it. Job, he dwelt in, there was a, right, Job 1:1, there was a man in the land of Uz, I forget how to pronounce it, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yahweh and eschewed evil. Let me go back to verse 30. So now, Uz or Uz, I forget how to pronounce it, was in the region of Edom, right? So he's talking about the Edomites. It says, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. So that's how disgusting and foul and immoral or animal like these Edomites were to him, right? He wouldn't even let them, when you go to the word disdained, reject, despise, right? Refuse, right? To reject, refuse, despise, right? So he didn't value their nation so much that he wouldn't want them to sit next to his dogs. Verse 2, yeah, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me? What could they do for him? And in whom old age was perished, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, right? And Esau is also known as what? The abomination of desolation, right? Everything about them is abominable, all right? And wherever they go, they leave it empty. They suck out, they drain all the resources, all of the life, all right? They pollute out of all the lands, they pollute everything, right? Fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, and under the nettles they were gathered together. Right. So what it means to bray is like grunting. So that whole history of us humans evolving from monkeys, that shit is bullshit, and that's them trying to tie their history into the history of all humanity. But it's all a part of their great deception. And a lot of people to bray, cry out. A lot of people believed in that. The loud, harsh cry of a donkey or a mule, right? See, some type of animal, right? Any type of harsh sound, like a donkey, disagreeable noise. So they was making a noise, animal-like noise, right, when they was in those caves. Going back to their origins. Lamentations 4:12, it says, the kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem, right? Which that all these heathen nations, right? At one point in time had their time to rule over our people, all right? We were under the captivity. We were in captivity under the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, all right? The siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD, they, Esau, Edom, nation of so-called white man. Out of all these heathen nations is our number one enemy, our number one adversary, right? Now, referring to being beast-like, right? Well, what was I just thinking about? Oh shit, what was I just thinking about? It slipped my mind. Slocky. Hold up. It's 1 Peter 5:8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, meaning be on point, because your adversary, the devil, which is Esau, Edom, all right? Satan rules the earth through the most wicked nation on the face of the earth, the nation of so-called white man. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, right? So going back to that beast, all right, is it being a metaphor for a beast like man, all right? an animal like man, all right, Esau, Edom nation, so-called white man, is that. So going back to Lamentation 4, the kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem, right? Because, again, even though all these heathen nations had their time to have their way with our nation because of us sinning against the Lord, worshiping the gods of these heathen nations, as a punishment and consequence, the worst captivity that we went through is the one that we going through now under the so-called Americans, all right? And Esau, Edom, the nation, so-called white man, is our number one enemy, our number one adversary. And with their history, right, of being cavemen, basically, right, it's like a shock if you compare, if you think about our history, how great we were in it, when the ancient kingdom of Israel was established in the times of Saul, David, all right, Solomon, all right, even after Solomon, when the kingdom was split, our people were still great, right? But we had started fighting amongst each other, and the curses start eating us up. But in those days, couldn't no nation come up against us and overthrow our rule. They couldn't prevail against us in war. So, jumping down, it says, verse 18, they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come, right? So Esau, Edom is that cunning hunter. Going back to Genesis, all right? And just like an animal hunts, that's how much Esau, Edom nation, so-called white man, is an enemy to us. And they're looking to devour us and totally destroy us. And part of them doing that, their method of doing that, is getting us to conform to their new world order through their microseed. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets, right? Through their beast-like system, it makes it difficult for us to feel comfortable with moving around, driving around. You get scared when, you worried about the police pulling you over. They always gunning our people down, all right? They always throwing stuff on them, right? Making it seem like they got a gun when it's really just a phone, or making it seem like they reaching for something, justifying them deleting us, and they also have totally conquered us to the point where they are inhabiting our land, and if it was left up to them, we would never know. We would never have woken up to the fact that we are the Hebrew Israelites, and that land of Israel belongs to us rightfully, so that through their whole system, they make it difficult for us to be free. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is coming. We're fastly approaching the end of us being oppressed by our enemies, us being hunted down. All right. And as they came up into power, you know, as they came up into power, the more we fell out of power, because during the time of the Assyrians, the Babylonians, all the way up to the Greeks, once they really start coming into power under the Greeks and the Romans, we still had a little bit of wiggle room to rule. Under the Romans is where they totally brought us out of power. All right, especially after Rome, their deadly wound was healed when they fell, and then they came back into power. Out of that came the Roman. Out of Rome came Roman Catholicism, you know, and it was the Catholic Church that authorized the enslavement of our people. All right, when we were in the Africas, when we was in the west coast of Africa, where we was before they brought us on cargo slave ships to the Americas. It was also the Roman Catholic Church that authorized the slaughter of our brothers, the so-called North American Indians. So, what else I wanted from this? Verse 19, our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. The Romans, they were known for representing themselves as the eagle. America's represented as the eagle, all right, on the back of the quarter. Trump, you know, he took those pictures with the eagles. Obadiah, though thou set thy nest among the stars, though thou set thy nest among the stars, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. So their pride is linked to that symbol of the eagle. It says, they pursued us upon the mountains, they laid wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the spirit, the anointed of the Lord, Yahushua, was taken in their pits, right? Yahushua was deleted by the ruling authority of Esau, Edom, all right, under the Romans, which and the wicked of our people gave them over to their hands, gave Yahushua over to their hands. It says, of whom we said under his shadow, right? America is known as the shadow of death, all right? Though I walk through this valley of shadow of death, I will not fear no evil. Under his shadow, we shall live among the heathen. And America is a melting pot of all different nationalities. And this is where our people have been more heathenistic, spiritually and mentally, more than ever because of their great deception, all of the lies and all of their oppression, their beast-like system. Verse 21, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. Right? Let's go to Obadiah. You know what? I'm gonna go to Revelation first. Back to Revelation 18. Revelation 18 and 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right? So that's what that's the burden, that's the fate of America, which America is these Edomites prized possession as far as lands owned. All right, they have a great legacy. They built a great legacy through this place called America under the name of the Americans. And so they have a reputation for leaving lands desolate and empty. The Lord is going to pay them back by taking their prized possession, wiping it out with thermonuclear missiles and the chariots of God. In 1 hour, wiping the whole United States out with thermonuclear missiles. It's going to be turned to a lake of fire, and when the fire go out, after a long time, America is going to be nothing. It's going to be the biggest desert on the face of the earth, and only desert-like creatures are going to live here. Jumping down, verse 6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you. Everything that was done to our nation, we're going to do to them in righteousness. And double unto her according to her works, in the cup which she had filled to her double. All right. So that cup represents all the oppression. All right. All the murdering, all the death of our people that happened under their hands. Us being enslaved. All right. Us being driven out of our land, scattered across the four corners of the earth. Everything that was done unto us is going to be done unto them. Now I'm going to go to Obadiah. This is Obadiah verse 16. For as ye have drunk, this whole chapter talks about the Edomites. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, mountain represent governments. The holy mountain is the nation of Israel. It says, so shall all the heathen, not just Esau, Edom, but all these heathen nations, they all are going to go into slavery. They're all going to be oppressed heavily for 1,000 years. And these Edomites is going to be exterminated after their 1,000 years is over with. So shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. So, right, Lamentations. So back in Lamentations, it says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. You're going to go into slavery. You're going to be oppressed. You're going to have to build up our kingdom. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. Right? I'm going to go ahead. Isaiah 47 and 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Right? America is that virgin daughter of Babylon. All right. Mystery Babylon. Babylon the Great is talking about America. And it's referring to America as being a virgin because America has never been touched by war. All right. It has never truly been attacked. Right. Or affected by war like other nations have during World War I, during World War II, or any other war. It says, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So America is no longer going to be untouched. All right. Americans is going to learn to suffer. All right. And they're going to learn, and they're going to, this place is going to suffer the greatest destruction on the face of the earth. All right. The land of the daughter of the Chaldeans being the elites of ancient Babylon, the elites of modern Babylon is the top banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, so forth and so on. Verse 2, take the millstone and grind mill. That's the work of a slave, right? Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. When Yahushua makes his second return, he's coming back in his angelic godlike form. All right. And he's going to do a straight slaughter of these heathen nations, and it's not going to be a fight. You know, they're going to try to fight, but it's not going to be a fight. It's going to be totally disproportionate, totally unfair. The fight is going to be one-sided. It's going to be a slaughter, like I said. And America is being exposed for all of its wickedness, all of the sins that it has committed, all of the lies that it has told, and it's about to the nation of so-called white men is about to pay for everything that they did throughout all history. So finishing this up, it says, verse 2, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, because that's the only reason why we're going through this suffering that we're going through now, throughout all these throughout all these hundreds of years that we've been in America, and for all of the thousands of years that we've been enslaved throughout all these different nations. It was all a part of the curses, part of the punishment for us breaking the law, statutes, and commandments, worshiping the gods of these heathen nations. Now that time is coming to an end. The punishment of thine iniquity, which is another word for sin, is accomplished. Our prison sentence is coming to an end. O daughter of Zion, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity. O daughter of Edom, he will discover thy sins. All right, so we're fastly approaching the time. And again, this micro CHIP being implemented is a clear sign of how close we are to his end of his rule. Second Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Because the end of the world is the end of this world, and how we, as you know it, the way that is being ruled. All right, this whole age and time of heathens ruling the earth. All right, it's time of the wicked of the earth coming to an end. But also on the other side of it, because what? The earth abideth forever, according to the scriptures. And so the end of Esau's world is the beginning of the kingdom of heaven. Verse 8, it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Jacob name was changed to Israel. He birthed the 12 tribes of the Israelites, which is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So that's common sense of what that means, right? Oh, so let me finish this. So that's the mark of the beast, right? The mark, the beast is Esau, Edom, and it's his system. Now this is the consequences for receiving that charagma. Revelation 14:9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man, now all of these visions given to Daniel, given to Ezra's, given to John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos. All right, these was all dreams. These were all visions, and so a lot of the things that they saw was symbolic, parabolic for things that would happen in these last days, and not literal. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, which it wasn't a monster, like I said, it's parabolic for this devil's system. If any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture, which is the thermonuclear destruction. And there's not going to be any mercy you can find within that destruction, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, the Lord's righteous anger, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels. The chariots, the vehicles in which the angels traveling are going to actually witness this destruction and going to be adding to the destruction with laser beams, concentrated fire, and in the presence of the Lamb, which is Yahweh Shah, because that's how he's returning. All right. He's returning right with those chariots, which are known as whirlwinds or clouds. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, meaning for a long time. That's how much fire is going to be burning over here. The smoke is going to be seen from the other side of the earth. It's going to burn for a long time. It's a part of the purification process of the earth, of the filthiness of the earth. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. This is what the saints, the elect of the nation of Israel, is waiting for, beginning with the prophets, the 144,000. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Hamashiach. So Lord willing, that was edifying. But Lord willing, it was of the Holy Spirit. And Lord willing, he was edified. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000.